In Greyfriars Kirk, on a cold winter day, John Cummins stood tall in a fateful way. But Ròibert the Bruce, with a crown in his eyes, struck down the red Cummin 'neath heavenly skies. The altar was stained with ambition and fire, and whispers of Scotland grew higher and higher. Oh, hear the sad bells through the thistle and snow. They ring through the heather where cold north winds blow. He'll pay for his sin, give his heart to the cause, but a burden he'll carry through Scotland's long wars.
Father Bruce, A Christmas Truth. Prelude. Long years ago, in days of old, when kings were proud and warriors bold, they fought with sword, they fought with hand, to rule the people of the land. When one side won, the crown was worn, the rest bowed low, their banners torn. At Worcester Field, young Charles did flee, while Cromwell claimed the victory. At Culloden brave hearts did fall, and William stayed the king of all. In times like these, men fought by might, and judged their honour by the fight. So Ròibert Bruce, though fierce his name, was bound by rules that kings proclaimed. Yet from such dark and troubled years, a brighter truth at last appears. For Christmas came, and with it peace, when love and kindness never cease. Chapter 1. Greyfriars Kirk. The winter wind swept through the narrow closes of Dumfries, tugging at cloaks and rattling shutters. Snowflakes clung to the stones of Greyfriars Kirk, the little church standing like a solemn guardian in the heart of the town. Inside, candles flickered, the light glinting off cold stone pillars and a tall wooden cross above the altar. 2 men entered that day, their footsteps echoing on the flagstones. The first was Ròibert the Bruce, called by many simply the Bruce, a tall man with a crown already glimmering in his imagination. His dark cloak was heavy with frost, but his eyes burned with restless fire. Scotland was divided, its people weary of war, and the Bruce longed to unite them under one king, himself. The second was John the Red Comyn, proud and sharp-eyed, clad in a crimson mantle. He too claimed the right to rule. Both men carried Scotland's future on their shoulders, and both believed they were chosen to wear the crown. But Greyfriars Kirk was not meant for quarrels. It was a holy place where voices should be hushed and hearts lifted in prayer. Yet on that cold February day, the kirk became the stage for a fateful meeting.
Cousin, said Bruce, voice steady but strained, we cannot both wear the crown that's been claimed. One must yield for Scotland's sake. Too long her heart's been forced to break. Common's lips curled, thin as deceit. You ask that I bow, admit defeat. Nay, Ròibert, your dreams are flame, and ambition burns in your noble name. The wind beat hard on the Kirk's old door, like spirits warning what lay in store. The Bruce's hand began to shake. He'd sought for peace for Scotland's sake, but rage rose fierce, a northern gale, and words became a mournful wail. A scuffle rang through holy air, the echo cried of deep despair. And when the sound of struggle died, was still save wind outside, and thunder rolled through stone and bone in Dumfries Kirk, 2 men alone.
The Bruce stared, his chest heaving. He had not planned this. He had wanted a throne, not a tragedy. The Kirk was no longer only a house of prayer. It had become a witness to an unholy deed. The altar, once pure, now seemed marked by shadows that would follow the Bruce forever. Snow still drifted through the streets outside, pure and untainted, but within the Kirk, the Bruce knew he had crossed a threshold he could never step back over. Scotland's crown might one day be his, but so too would a burden, one heavy enough to follow him even beyond the grave. Chapter 2, A King Forgiven. The Bruce stumbled from Greyfriars Kirk, the winter air biting his face. The bells of Dumfries tolled in the distance, but their sound felt more like judgment than music. He pulled his cloak tighter, though no cloth could shield him from the weight pressing on his heart. What had he done? He had meant to win common support, or at least a silence. Instead, he had brought strife into the house of God itself. The Kirk's stone walls seemed to follow him as he walked, whispering that he had crossed a line that no sword or crown could ever erase. Bruce sank to his knees in the snow, his breath turning to mist. For all his boldness, he now felt only fear. Fear of God, fear of his people's scorn, fear that he had doomed his chance ever to unite Scotland. Yet in that moment of dread, Scotland called to him. He thought of the hills and glens, of the heather and the rivers, of farmers and clans who longed for peace. Could his mistake truly be the end of all hope? Messengers hurried through the town, voices buzzing of what had happened. Some cursed the name of Ròibert Bruce. Others, weary of endless quarrels, wondered if perhaps at last one man might take the crown and steady the kingdom.
Soon came the clergy, stern and slow, their robes brushed soft through falling snow. With folded hands and eyes of grief, they came to give his soul relief. The Bruce bowed low, his shoulders bent, a king in shame, his courage spent. I've sinned, he cried, my crown was pride. Forgive the blood my hands supplied. They said you cannot change what's done, but mercy shines through God's own Son. Kneel, Ròibert Bruce, your strength reclaim, not for yourself, but Scotland's name. He knelt and snow to water turned, as tears fell hot from eyes that burned. The words were spoken, calm and deep, and hope awoke from sorrow's sleep. The Kirk was cold, the sky was grey, but grace had found him on that day.
Only weeks later, beneath the open sky at Scone, the Bruce was crowned King of Scots. Until that moment, he had been known simply as the Bruce, a man of lineage and ambition, but now, with the golden circlet upon his brow, he was king. The people gathered, wrapped in wool and furs against the March wind. Some cheered with gladness, others watched with weary eyes. He swore to guard Scotland and its people with his life. The Bruce was gone. In his place stood King Ròibert, a ruler whose voice would command armies and whose decisions would shape a nation. The crown was his at last, but so too was the shadow of Greyfriars Kirk. a shadow that would walk with him through every battle, every victory, every prayer. And though the people sang at his coronation, King Ròibert knew that the song of heaven was quieter, waiting for the day he would have to answer once more. Chapter 3. The Battles for Scotland. King Ròibert sat upon Scotland's throne, but the crown was no comfort. A crown, he learned quickly, was no prize to wear. It was a weight to carry. The English king, Edward I, still claimed Scotland as his own. Many Scottish lords doubted the Bruce's right, remembering Greyfriars Kirk. Armies clashed, castles fell, and for a time King Ròibert was forced to flee into the wilderness. He hid in the heathered hills, boots sinking into peat bogs, his breath steaming on icy air. He slept in caves where water dripped from stone ceilings, and he ate what little could be caught or gathered. With only a few faithful men beside him, King Ròibert seemed more outlaw than king. There is a tale told of that time, how King Ròibert, weary and near despair, watched a small spider at work in a dark corner of his cave. The spider leapt again and again, trying to fasten its web. 6 times it failed. On the 7th it caught the beam and spun its silken thread. King Ròibert smiled in the shadows. If a spider can try 7 times, so can a king. From that day he rose with new strength. Bit by bit he gathered loyal followers. Farmers, shepherds, clansmen and warriors came to his banner, drawn by his courage and his promise to free Scotland. Years passed. Skirmish by skirmish, King Ròibert's men struck like hawks in the glens, seizing castles, driving out garrisons, and lighting fires of hope across the land. Scotland, weary of kneeling, began to stand tall again.
At last it came, the trial of flame. Bannockburn was the battle's name. The English came in steel and pride, their banners fierce, their ranks spread wide. But Bruce rode forth on a humble steed, no crown of gold, just faith and need. His men stood firm with spears in hand, for God, for love, for Scotland's land. The ground did shake, the sky did roar, yet Scotland held forevermore. Through wave and charge they stood as one, and Bannockburn was bravely won. At Burn and Ford the foe was pressed, the Scots struck hard, they gave their best. Their cry rose high through smoke and sun. Freedom for Scotland, the day was won. The dust lay still, the fight was done. The thistle rose, Bannockburn won.
For the first time in many years, the people of Scotland believed that peace might truly come. The crown upon King Ròibert's head no longer seemed just a dream. It was a promise, one fought for, one earned, and one to be kept. Yet in the quiet of the night after the battle, as his men sang and celebrated, King Ròibert sat apart for a moment. Victory was sweet, but shadows still whispered from Greyfriars Kirk. He had won Scotland's forgiveness, but heaven's was still far away. Chapter 4. The King of Cardross. Years passed after Bannockburn, and Scotland breathed more freely than it had in a long time. The Bruce once hunted and doubted was now called Ròibert the King by rich and poor alike. At Cardross, near the River Clyde, he made his home in a fine hall of timber and stone. Though the fields outside were green with crops and the sea sparkled with trade, the king himself carried weariness in his bones. Battle scars ran deep, and illness began to shadow his days. Yet even as his body weakened, King Ròibert ruled with strength of spirit. He called councils, listened to his lords, and worked to bind Scotland's wounds. Castles ruined by war were rebuilt. Churches stood tall again, and trade flowed from boroughs to harbours. He never forgot the spider in its cave, nor the lesson it taught, to keep trying no matter how many times one failed. He reminded his people of that story often, telling them that Scotland must be as patient and persistent as a little creature weaving its web.
And yet though his crown gleamed bright, King Ròibert walked through shadowed night. A whisper lingered, soft, steadfast, the haunting echo of his past. He prayed on a rush-strewn floor so bare, asking God to hear his prayer. Forgive the blood upon the stone, a sin that he must face alone. The priests had spoken, absolved his name, but in his heart it was not the same. He bore the weight of the path he trod. The final judgment rests with God. A crown of gold cannot erase the shadowed deeds we all must face. Yet hope can rise where guilt once stayed, and mercy shines when debts are paid. Though the crown gleamed and kingdoms passed, King Ròibert hoped for peace at last.
In the summer of 1329, as June's sun warmed the hills, King Ròibert lay upon his bed at Cardross. His warriors stood nearby, and his family gathered close. He spoke of Scotland, of freedom, of faith. He urged them to guard the land and the people, never to let tyranny rule again. The room grew still as King Ròibert's voice faltered. With his last breath, Ròibert, King of Scots, closed his eyes. The crown of Scotland rested upon his brow, and the nation mourned its king. Bells tolled across the villages and towns, from Kirk to castle. People wept, but they also gave thanks for the man who had fought for their freedom and given them hope. Even as his body was laid to rest, his soul rose upward, carried on unseen wings towards the shining gates of heaven. Chapter 5. The Closed Gate. Ròibert Bruce, once King of Scots, stood before the gates of heaven. They rose higher than any cathedral spire, carved of shining pearl and guarded by light itself. A song drifted from within, sweeter than any harp or choir he had ever heard on earth. The humbled Ròibert Bruce, no longer King of Scots, but just Ròibert, lifted his head, certain that at last he would find rest. He had fought battles, borne a crown, and striven to heal the land he loved. Surely heaven would welcome him. But the gates did not open. A tall figure stepped forward, robed in white with a cross of blue stretching from shoulder to hem. His eyes shone with both kindness and gravity.
I am Andrew, patron of Scotland. The saint's voice rang like waves on sand. I watched your life, King Ròibert bold, a king whose deeds are often told. You raised a nation proud and free, yet still the past will follow thee. Ròibert knelt, hand on his chest, then opened the gates. I see God's rest. St. Andrew's gaze grew deep, austere. Mercy is wide, but justice clear. You struck down John upon holy stone in Greyfriars Kirk, before God's throne. No crown, no victory can erase the stain that lingers from that place. Ròibert's heart sank like a stone. I repented and served the throne. I ruled with justice, gave all I could. I gave my life for Scotland's good. The priests absolved what men could see, but heaven holds the final key.
For a moment, silence lay heavy. The golden gates gleamed, but they remained shut. Ròibert felt the weight of every choice he had ever made pressing upon him. He had faced mighty armies, yet never had he felt so powerless. Then St. Andrew lifted his staff, and a light spread across the heavens. Ròibert, because you sinned before the altar, you must now bring joy where once you brought sorrow. You shall descend to earth, and each year on the holy night of Christmas, you shall carry gifts to children, rich and poor alike, from cottage to castle, across glens and seas. Where once your sword struck fear, now your hands must bring gladness. Ròibert's eyes widened. A king to bear gifts. Yes, said Andrew. Not with armies, but with reindeer from the Highlands of your own land. They shall be swift as the winter wind and strong as the stags of the hill. You shall ride a sleigh across the sky, bearing wonder and kindness. Only by this service will the gates of heaven open for you. He knelt before St. Andrew. If joy is my penance, then joy I will bring. Let the bairns of earth be my charge. The saint inclined his head. Then go, Ròibert. Begin your journey of redemption. The children wait. With a sweep of Andrew's hand, Ròibert felt himself carried downward, back toward the hills and rivers of Scotland. But this time, no army followed him. Instead, he heard the distant call of hooves upon snow, and the wild ringing laughter of something new beginning. Chapter 6. The Highland Reindeer. Ròibert awoke upon a hillside in the Highlands, the heather brushing his hands and the chill air stinging his cheeks. Above him stretched a winter sky, vast and pale, with clouds rolling like silver banners. From the ridge above came a sound, a wild, proud bellow, echoing through the glen. Ròibert rose to his feet. There, upon the snowy slope, stood a herd of deer, their antlers branched high like crowns of living oak, and their coats glimmered in shades of chestnut, grey and white. Their breath rose in clouds, and their hooves struck sparks as though the frost itself could not hold them. One larger than the rest stepped forward. His eyes were deep and ancient, as if he had seen the mists of Scotland roll for centuries. He bowed his great head, and Ròibert felt a shiver run through him. These, came St. Andrew's voice upon the wind, shall be your companions. The deer stamped upon the frosted ground, restless yet unafraid. Ròibert, who had once commanded armies, now stepped softly among them like a guest. He laid his hand on the great stag's neck, and to his astonishment, the creature knelt as if pledging loyalty. One by one others followed, strong, swift, and fearless. They gathered around him.
St. Andrew's voice rang clear and grand. They'll fly, Ròibert, at your command. Across the heavens they shall stream to chase the stars, a Christmas dream. But each must bear a name of might, for names give strength and spirits light. Then Ròibert smiled, his heart set free from all the wars and memory. He looked upon the steeds in line and spoke with joy, his eyes ashine. You swift as Highland winds that race shall bear the name of Dasher's grace. And you whose steps to music fall, our dancer, lightest one of all, high-stepping soul, proud prancer go. The stage is earth, the sky your show. And vixen sly as foxfires gleam, you dance within the midnight stream. Now comet, bright as falling star, your trail shall shine from near to far. And Cupid, gentle kind of eye, bring warmth where bitter snows may lie. Then Donner thunders mountain call, your voice shall stir the hearts of all. And Blitzen, fierce the storm's last roar, shall drive the winds forevermore. They gathered close in silver light, their breath a song against the night. But one stood back apart from all, his glow began though faint and small. Ròibert bent low, his voice now bright, your gift is pure, the gift of light. Though small in frame, your heart burns bold. Rudolph, shine red through frost and cold.
The herd stamped and snorted in approval, and the glen seemed to shimmer with enchantment. Now, Ròibert, St. Andrew's voice whispered, the sleigh awaits. From Perth you shall ride each Christmas, not as a king of war, but as a father of joy. Your penance begins. Chapter 7, Father Christmas of Perth. The River Tay glittered in the moonlight as Ròibert walked through the winding streets of Perth. The town lay quiet beneath its winter blanket, its streets still and hushed. Yet life persisted in gentle murmurs behind shuttered windows. Something stirred within him, a purpose unlike any he had known before. Gone were the clash of swords and the shouts of battle. In their place came the soft laughter of children drifting from cottages, the crackle of hearth fires, and the whisper of wind over rooftops. This was the Scotland he had always dreamed of, peaceful, warm, and waiting. Ròibert paused and looked about the quiet town. It was fitting, he thought, that he should begin his new work here, for Perth was no ordinary town. It was the place where the kings of Scotland were crowned. Its stones had seen oaths sworn and crowns placed upon noble heads. If he was to become a king of joy, then let it begin where kings had always been honoured. By the edge of the town stood a workshop of sorts, not of wood and hammer, but of light. St. Andrew's hand had shaped it, yet it looked as though it had always been there, tucked between the river and the hills. Within lay planks of shining oak, silver runners and harnesses of leather studded with tiny stars. Ròibert entered, and there, glimmering beneath the lantern glow, rested a sleigh, its frame curved like the prow of a ship, strong enough to ride the wind, wide enough to carry gifts to every bairn in Scotland. The paint upon its sides shimmered crimson and gold, the colours of courage and joy. The Highland reindeer waited outside, their breath rising like steam, their antlers crowned with frost. When Ròibert stepped forward, they tossed their heads eagerly, as though they already knew what was to come.
St. Andrew's voice was calm once more. This shall be your chariot, not of war. No throne to rule, no steed to fight, but a sleigh of peace through silent night. Each Christmas Eve your path shall run, unseen yet felt by everyone. To every child your spirit flies, a light of love through winter skies. Ròibert touched the wooden frame and softly breathed his own new name. A king in a sleigh, he said, eyes bright. How strange, and yet it feels so right. Upon the seat wrapped warm and red, a bundle lay where angels tread. He loosed the folds and there was shown a coat as rich as any throne, deep crimson lined with the winter's white, ermine soft as northern light. A cap of fur, strong gloves beside, for one who'd steered where reindeer glide. St. Andrew smiled, his voice made clear, your crown is gone, yet glory's near. You wore a crown of rule and pride, now wear this robe where love abides. No longer king of man's endeavour, but giver's a robe to reign forever. And from that night through time unrolled, he rides in red through starlit cold. No throne remains, no battle cry, just laughter rising to the sky.
And then at St. Andrew's word, from a radiant light, a familiar presence appeared, Elizabeth de Burgh. His beloved wife and Queen of Scotland was sent to join him in his mission. As Mother Christmas, she walked beside Father Christmas. Her gaze gentle, yet alight with mischief and joy, ready to share in his new task. Together they walked a new path, not as king and queen, but as bearers of wonder, guiding the light of joy wherever it was needed. Chapter 8. The Trial Run. The night before Christmas Eve arrived, crisp and clear. The moon hung low over Perth, silvering the rooftops and sparkling along the River Tay. Father Christmas stood at the edge of the town with his sleigh, reins in hand, surrounded by his proud herd of Highland reindeer. Tonight, he whispered, we test our strength. Tomorrow, we bring joy to every bairn in Scotland. The reindeer tossed their heads and snorted, their breath rising in puffs of mist. Their names had already been given, and they answered them proudly. Dasher leapt first. Rudolph's glowing nose cast a steady light, and the others stamped in eager rhythm.
With a gentle tug he drew the sleigh, and slowly rose, then swept away. The runners left the frozen ground, no sound but bells, that silver sound. Above the roofs of Perth they flew, where St. John's spires pierced the blue. They crossed the Tay, soft winding gleam, the moonlight dancing like a dream. The countryside lay dark and deep, the fields and forests hushed in sleep. O'er Loch Levan's glassy plain, the ice was bright as silver rain. Through Uphill Hill, so still, so wide, the startled deer looked up in pride. He steered with care, the reins held tight, to feel the herd's swift pulse in flight. He learned each turn, each subtle sway, the sleigh obeyed his guiding way, and in that calm enchanted air, the world below was still and fair.
At a small croft outside Dunkeld, he landed softly. No eyes were watching, no voices stirred. He placed a single toy upon the windowsill, a trial gift, and smiled as the sleigh lifted once more into the star-frosted sky. Through the night they practiced rising, turning, landing, climbing again. Villages slept below, unaware of the quiet rehearsal above their rooftops. Father Christmas laughed aloud, a sound like bells in the glens. It was not the laugh of a king, but of something new being born. By the time dawn touched the hills, Father Christmas and his team had returned to Perth. Frost clung to the sleigh, the reindeer shook snow from their coats, and Father Christmas stroked Rudolph's glowing nose. Tomorrow night, he said softly, we begin the real battle, a battle against sadness, loneliness, and fear. Tonight we only trained, but tomorrow Scotland shall wake to joy. The reindeer stamped and snorted in agreement, ready to rest before the great task ahead. Chapter 9, the final preparations. Morning broke cold and clear over Perth. Frost sparkled on the rooftops, and the River Tay flowed dark and steady under a pale sun. Father Christmas rose early, brushing snow from his crimson cloak. His reindeer stirred restlessly, eager for what was to come.
Tonight we start great work, she said. Her eyes with love and joy were fed. Tonight he told the waiting deer, we fly for real, the hour is near. The sleigh stood shining firm and bright, its runners kissed by frost and light. He packed it full with steady care, with treasures chosen pure and rare. There were carved toys and sweets that gleam, and mittens warm as childhood's dream. Soft scarves, small books, and trinkets too, each one a gift sincere and true. For Mother Christmas, kind and mild, had thought of every sleeping child. Not wealth nor rank her choices styled, but just the thought, a child's smile.
Still, Father Christmas knew he needed practice of another sort. Magically slipping into a narrow chimney, he tested his new task. A cloud of soot puffed into his beard, blackening the snowy white. Mother Christmas chuckled with laughter. "Not a word," he grumbled, though his eyes twinkled. He wriggled free, coughing and laughing at once. "We'll call that a success." Meanwhile, the reindeer showed their strengths. Dasher leapt like a stag across the snowy fields. Vixen slipped silently as shadow through the night, and little Rudolph cast a steady beam through drifting fog. Together, Father Christmas and the reindeer formed a team unlike any he had ever led as King Ròibert the Bruce. They were disciplined, swift, and loyal, yet playful too. As dusk fell, the sleigh stood ready, piled high with wonders. The stars glimmered above Perth, and the town's windows glowed with firelight. Father Christmas looked upon his reindeer and smiled, his heart light. "Tomorrow morning, Scotland shall wake to something new," Mother Christmas said softly. "Not conquest, not sorrow, but joy," said Father Christmas. Chapter 10. Across the Villages of Scotland. The long day was over. Christmas Eve night had come at last. The air was crisp, the sky clear and star-pierced. Father Christmas stood at the sleigh, the crimson cloak heavy on his shoulders, the snowy beard shining pale in the moonlight. He placed one hand on Rudolph's bridle. "It's time," he said. With his trials complete and Mother Christmas waving him on his way, Father Christmas climbed into the sleigh and urged the reindeer forward into the night. With a leap, the reindeer surged forward and the sleigh lifted into the frosty air. Over the rooftops of Perth they soared, silent and swift, while below the townsfolk slept unaware. They again crossed the Tay, its waters gleaming like liquid silver, then swept across the fields of Fife, where cottages nestled under blankets of snow. At each stop, Father Christmas guided the sleigh low, slipping unseen to place gifts at hearths. Toys found their way to children's bedsides, sweets to little shoes left by the fire. Onward they flew, crossing frozen lochs and silent forests, leaving gifts for every child along the way. Avoiding chimneys whenever he could, he entered each home, sometimes through doors, sometimes through windows left ajar. At each cottage he left a token gift as a sign of goodwill. Though none saw him, he felt the joy of his mission growing stronger.
The reindeer pressed forward through moonlight and chill, o'er Inverness rooftops so silent, so still, past hamlets in borders where hearth fires gleam, and northward where gulls woke from sleep in their dream. At Cardross he halted, soft snow on his coat. He left by the Kirk door a gift and a note. For every child hoping, he whispered so low, his blessing took flight through the soft falling snow, through cottage and meadow, through valley and glen. Wonder would follow again and again. A cat blinked at Rudolph's soft crimson beam. A fox darted off through the frost and the stream. A shepherd half wakened from slumber so deep, he fancied faint bells in the hush of his sleep, and laughter resounded so hearty, so grand, like rolling of bells over all the white land.
At last dawn touched the hills of Perthshire. The sleigh swept home, Mother Christmas was waiting. The reindeer were weary, but proud, their breaths steaming in the cold air. Father Christmas stepped down, brushing frost from his cloak, and looked over the land he loved. Tonight, he said softly, we won a new kind of victory, one that carries on laughter, hope, and love. This was the first for Father Christmas, and surely there will be many more. The reindeer snorted and scraped in the snow, Rudolph's nose dimming to a gentle glow. Father Christmas laid a hand upon the sleigh and smiled. He had found his redemption, not by crown or sword, but by joy carried on a winter's night. Chapter 11. The legend grows. Years passed, but Father Christmas never tired of Christmas Eve. Every year as the snow settled over Perth and the stars began to twinkle, he and his loyal Highland reindeer prepared for the magical flight. The villagers began to whisper of a strange crimson sleigh, of glowing hooves leaping across the hills, and of a red-nosed reindeer leading the way. Children told their friends of a kindly man who seemed to appear from nowhere, leaving toys, sweets, and surprises in every home. Did you see him? A boy would ask, eyes wide. Flying with a whole herd of reindeer, a girl would add. No one knows where he lives, another whispered, but he must be a very clever man. Indeed, cleverness was needed. Father Christmas and his reindeer discovered new tricks each year. Father Christmas laughed one frosty night as Rudolph's nose gleamed like a tiny lantern. Well, little one, it seems you've outshone even the stars. The reindeer snorted happily, and Dasher stamped the ground in pride. Each year brought small mishaps, fallen gifts, startled cats, and occasionally a very surprised goose. But always joy followed them. Every heart touched, every laugh shared was a small victory greater than any battlefield. Even the adults began to notice. Farmers would shake their heads in disbelief. Mothers whispered of candles flickering without wind, and neighbours murmured at doors opening on their own. And through it all, the voices of priests who had once forgiven the sins of Ròibert the Bruce seemed to echo still, whispering through the ages. Miracles did happen, sometimes through the most unlikely of kings.
Soon the legend of Christmas was carried afar, past Perth and the lochs where the still waters are, through glens that lay dreaming in moon silver glow, to Paris where candles and windows still show. Then onward through Europe, through city and plain, where children in Rome whispered softly his name. They spoke of his sleigh o'er the Colosseum's height, its bells faintly ringing through the crisp winter night. Across the wide ocean where cold waters gleam, he flew into New York like a flicker of dream. Past Liberty's torch and the tall towers bright, he wove between stars and the crowns of the night. Yet never did pride find a home in his heart, for Mother Christmas had guided that part. Each year she would tell him, both tender and wise, it's not in the tales that our true glory lies. It's the joy that we give, not the fame we receive. That's the kindness and love in the hearts that believe.
And so the legend grew, not as a king of war, but as a king of joy, not a conqueror of lands, but a bringer of wonder. From grand cities to quiet villages, from mountain peaks to seaside cottages, Father Christmas and his faithful reindeer became a symbol of hope, kindness, and a timeless magic of Christmas Eve. Every child who whispered his name, every smile that greeted a secret gift, carried the warmth of Scotland's hills and the spirit of a king who had learned that the greatest battles were won with love, laughter, and a sleigh full of joy. And though the legend shone bright across the world, in time it would take on many shapes, and some stories would be hidden from view. Yet in the glens of Scotland, the heart of the truth lived on, waiting to be told in whispers by those who remembered. Epilogue, the hidden legend. As with many legends, the story of Father Christmas was not always told in the same way. In time, the truth of the Scottish king, who delivered gifts on Christmas Eve, began to grow quiet. When Scotland and England were joined as one kingdom in 1707, English rulers offered another story, one of St. Nicholas from distant lands. From then on, the legend of Ròibert the Bruce as a bringer of joy was whispered only in secret, fading from the wider world.
Yet the truth lived on in the Highlands so deep, where mist draped the glens and shadows would creep. Among Clan MacDonald by heather and stone, a spell of old whispers was quietly sown. Each summer he came, the wise Father Bruce, to rest by the fire where wild magic flows loose. He'd roam the high moors as the twilight would glow, and linger by streams where silver waters flow. Mother Christmas arrived with a bright laughing breeze, her joy like the sunlight through trembling pine trees. She'd weave with the women bright cloth for the cold, and spin through the stories, the legends of old. The children watched on with wide shining eyes as the reindeer struck sparks beneath twilight skies. Their hooves kissed the stones, leaving shimmer and light, while Father Bruce whispered of wonders by night. And then there by the doorway, neath moon's gentle sway, his crimson sleigh waited for midwinter's day, packed full of treasures both tiny and rare. The truth lived on in the mild Highland air.
But mysteries and half-told stories concealed these truths. Strange happenings in the glens, whispers around fires of figures in the snow or bells in the night, helped preserve the secret from the wider world. Even the winds of Glencoe seemed to carry a hush, guarding the memory of the Scottish king who gave joy to every child. And though the name of Santa Claus would become the one most children knew, the heart of Christmas, laughter, kindness, and the warmth of a gift given in love remained the same. For those who carried the secret, Father Bruce was never forgotten. To the MacDonalds, and to those who still whisper the old truths, he remains more than a legend. He is the reminder that true magic comes not from crowns or battles, but from courage, joy, and a heart full of kindness.
Oh, gather ye round, and I'll tell ye the tale of a king wi' a crown and a heart that did fail. He fought for his country, aye, brave was his fight, but blood on the altar
darkened his right. Now he rides through the snow in the cold northern sky. With his Highland reindeer he's passing you by. With a sleigh full of joy and a soul yet to pay, Clais Ròibert comes at the close of the day. 'Twas St. Andrew stood at the pearl gate sae wide, and he bade Bruce bide, ye cannae come inside. For come and lie still with the dagger sae red, and the Kirk cries out for the blood that was shed. Now he rides through the snow in the cold northern sky. With his Highland reindeer he's passing you by. With a sleigh full of joy and a soul yet to pay, Clais Ròibert comes at the close of the day. But mercy, said Bruce, if justice be thine, let my penance be hard, but my spirit I shine. So the Lord gave a task, not of sword but of cheer, to the bairns of the earth bring light every year. And from Benahi to the Isles o' the West, his sleigh it flew swift, ne'er stopping to rest. His cloak turned to red, his blade turned to gold, his crown now a bonnet through winter so cold. Now he rides through the snow in the cold northern sky. With his Highland reindeer he's passing you by. With a sleigh full of joy and a soul yet to pay, Clais Ròibert comes at the close of the day. But come the Union, the truth they did hide, and brought in a bishop frae seas far and wide. Said nay, it's Saint Nick ye should honour instead. Forget Bruce the giver, forget what was said. What we ken the truth, aye, the old folks still say, 'twas Bruce in his sleigh at the turn o' the day. With reindeer frae glens and a heart to redeem, the king who brings joy where the starlight still gleam. Now he rides through the snow in the cold northern sky. With his Highland reindeer he's passing you by. With a sleigh full of joy and a soul yet to pay, Clais Ròibert comes at the close of the day. They harnessed the deer from the Highland snow, with antlers like stags and hearts all aglow. Dasher and Dancer and bold Prancer too, Vixen and Comet with coats of deep blue. Cupid and Donner and Blitzen did neigh, and Rudolph lit up the shadowy way. Oh, jingle the bells through the thistle and snow, right through heather where cold north winds blow. He paid for his sin, gave his heart for the cause. Now Ròibert the Bruce is Santa Claus. A red hood on his head and a beard snowy white, he's galloping dreams through the Highlands tonight. From Dumfries to heaven he's earned his release. All hail the Christmas King, Ròibert the Bruce.